Namaskar, India. Good afternoon, good evening to wonderful speakers we have here with us, Miss Elisa da Silva. She's the Charge of the Affairs AI of Timor Leste to Thailand. We're also being joined by Miss Celestia Faith Chong. She's the International Beauty Pageant winner and also the director to Beauty the Concierge Singapore. We're also being joined by Dr. Manimekalai Mohan, founder and managing trustee, SSVM Institutions from Coimbatore. It's an honor for us to have here on this panel Mr. Riyad Hussain, who is the Group CHRO, Metrochem Group Bangladesh. And of course, it's a great honor, ladies and gentlemen, to have here with us Dr. Kavita Monga, founder and CEO, GSL Edu Excellence, all about career guidance and education consultancy. We're also joined by Mr. Karun Kaura. He's the Chairman Managing Director to Kaya Spirits. Mr. Shubhomoy Banerjee. He's the co-founder of EpikIndifi, and Mr. Ashis Guha, CEO, Infotech. And with that, let me get started and let me bring on Miss Elisa. Ma'am, a very, very good evening to you. How are you feeling today?
Oh, good evening, everyone. I'm okay. Thank you so much.
So, ma'am, my question, of course, let's start talking about the significance of skilling, reskilling, and upskilling, to actually match the global scenario, the current the situation that all of us and as a world together we are facing.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Good afternoon from Thailand to all the distinguished speakers. Before I answer, I would like to thank AsiaOne for inviting me to share some view on the very important topic today. There are three things: skilling, reskilling, upskilling. And this is a global issue, as we all can realize that, and global issue for all the institutions, even governments, private agency or companies, all the international relations is a global issue. So responding to the questions, I would like to say that as the ongoing COVID and pandemic crisis, it's really affected all the business around the world. So what they have to do is, I think they have to, some of them probably and everyone have to rethink and reinvent something, in order to, to face the challenge that we have today. I mean, in this current situation. So in addition to that, I also see that the world is changing, and it's changing rapidly, including the technology, and also technology and emerging the four industrial revolutions is one of the challenges. But however, as a business, as a company, as a organization, we have to adapt to the change in terms of, as I said earlier, new technology, the new trends, and the new how we work. With the pandemic, as you all aware that everyone is now working at home, doing things at home, study and things like that. But I'm not sure that these kind of activities, the new way of life, will continue, whether we go back to the new world, we have to go to the office, go to the university or school doing this. I don't know that. We never guess what's going to happen in the future. So furthermore, as we know that the pandemic and the technology, the new immersion of the four industrial revolutions, it's a give a pressure, to all the companies, organizations, to the labor market, and the companies, in order to, as I said, to create something new, to invent or rethink something in order to respond to the challenge, to the pressure that in the global change that we have. And to respond to this, I think that, and the topic tonight is very relevant. Skilling, upskilling, and reskilling is relevant, but we need to focus on the existing stuff. So I think we don't need to look outside, but we look at what we have, resources we have, and then we just need to rethink our strategy. Even the government, even the companies, we need to rethink, redesign our strategy. Here I'm talking about the talent design, something like that. And then look at the resource, look at what the employee have, whether we leave them behind, something like that, or whether we use the potential skill that they have. So we need to look at this issue as well. But the most important thing is that we have to put budget on this issue. I mean, if you want to train staff, capacity building, we need to, put something on. I mean, budget is very essential. We cannot cut budget for training, for capacity building for our employees. So we need to do this. And to reskilling, to upskilling, I think from what I learned, from what I hear from others, I think the most important is to expand the ability and the skills of the employees in order to ensure that they adapt to the new environment, especially the digital environment, in order for them to survive and resign and innovate the way of thinking and critical thinking, then they can solve the issue, I mean, problem solving. So that's one of the points I would like to raise. The other one that I think we need to focus on is strengthening social and emotional skills. Here I'm talking about the interpersonal skills, which is very, very important to ensure that they are able to communicate. They're able to to share idea or to talk to each other, even with the distance right now. I'm here in Thailand, but everyone, some in India, Singapore, we still communicate. But how we do that, we need to help them in order to go through this way. And the third one, I think we need to focus on adaptability and resilience, which means that we need to help the employees or our manager or anyone working with us, our employees, to have a self-awareness and self-confidence in themselves in order to do their job well. So by doing this, I think we'll help the companies in order to transform the workforce without having to bring in anyone out of the company or find something new. I mean, someone new, a specialist, or into the area that we need. So I think a focus on the existing staff is very, very important. So in my view, that regular trainings and of the existing staff will really scale up the company, and also to reduce the skill gaps that we have. I mean, the companies have. So I just want to share with, I think maybe everyone knows already, that I read one of the report from the link on the Workforce Confidence Index 2020. It mentioned that, it's point to India. It's mentioned that 64% of professionals are likely to increase their focus on learning in coming weeks. In addition to that, third out of 5 professionals claim that by scaling scaling and rescaling this, they will achieve more progress in their ability. So this is some information that we need to look at. And also, in addition to that, as I don't know that if everyone here knows, but I just want to share that the World Economic Forum also pointed out that we need to upgrade the skill or experience by at least 54%. It said that 54% of the employees will need reskilling, upskilling by 2022.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I think this one I want to share, and thank you so much.
Thank you. I request all our speakers to please kindly keep their time limited to about 2 to 2.5 minutes. So then, because we have a lot of questions coming in, so then we can take more questions from, we've almost got about 500 more attendees today watching us right now. So, we can just communicate with them as well. So with that, let me get Celestia. Hi, how are you doing, Celestia? Well, with you, whenever it's you, I have to ask you a question. What's been the reskilling and upskilling in the world of beauty? That's very important.
It's always in the beauty area, doesn't it? Yeah, for me, right? Beauty to me it comes in with like huge facade, because the thing is that we all understand that in this COVID-19 pandemic situation, it has actually caused very serious burdens for many of the businesses, not just Singapore, but it's actually worldwide. And during this period, right, jobs are lost, people are retrenched, and economy is going on the downhill, So to me, is we need to understand that getting ourselves equipped with new skills, improvising our skills, or even relearning our skills help us to remain competitive. And it also, able us to take up a different role, exposing ourselves to more opportunities. And it's quoted by Mr. Edward Wong, from the president of the Spa and Wellness Association in Singapore, that unfortunately the beauty services industry in Singapore is really retracting its service framework to meet local demands rather than working with major global players to upgrade or acquire new skills. And in Singapore, this association is made of members in, the beauty and wellness side. That's why I actually spoke to him, so that I would be able to add more value to this conversation. So he's currently working on a partnership with Pearson Education to provide skill set and certification recognized internationally. And the objective is to increase the competencies, professional recognition, personal value, and career development using an approach that focus on specific skills, classroom and OJT learning, and the very performance competency strategy. So going to, the question of the significance of the skilling, reskilling, and upskilling the beauty industry, right? For skilling wise, definitely, and it actually enable learning new skill, the employees, when they learn new skills, to be able to grow and move within the organization. And the right attitude also means that he will be valued by the organization, and he'll be in an organization that will be able to grow and expand and remain competitive. And my views for reskilling and upskilling is, because reskilling existing employees is more cost effective than hiring new ones, it also helps to make the employees more competitive. And the nature of our jobs and everyday tasks is challenging, because why? We have the digital transformation, we have the AI, we have the automation that has made many jobs redundant. And especially when all these routine actions are now being carried out by robots or software, which means that creating other roles that demand different skills is important. And professionals of all ages, we need to understand the value of continuing upskilling and reskilling, so that we can actually progress through the careers. And I think for companies, providing access to this program is a necessity to attract and retain the top talent, and a culture of upskilling and reskilling to promote, actually increase the motivation and enhance the employee's experience, and really encourage higher levels of employee loyalty, especially for the new generation now, because you have really to keep them engaged, So addressing these skill gaps within this organization, right? It actually allows the building of more diverse teams, more cost effectiveness, and quicker to train the existing talent rather than bringing the external hires. And also with these opportunities, it's actually very crucial to the health and success of any businesses, because lifelong learning is essential, and especially for planning for the future, with now that the AI and automation are coming in. And a part of that, the importance of branding in both personal and corporate is very critical as well, because we're talking about, being a physical presence, how you dress, how you behave, being an online presence, because when people know you now, they don't just look at your name card, they Google you all the time. They want to know what you're doing, and being how to, behave yourself, your branding in public. All these is very important, and I've always been advocating on, because beauty is not just wearing nice clothes and wearing nice makeup. It's showing your beauty and branding both offline and online and interpersonal as well. And with the advancement of social media, right, to be actually branded in this three dimension will give you a consistent brand image across the board and an edge over the rest. So that's my my view on this topic.
Thank you, Silva. Thank you so much. So, we've heard from our speakers, talking about the interpersonal skills are so important, retaining the talents that you have, investing a little more in them. With that, let me move on to Mohan. How are you doing, ma'am? And of course, it's all about, today we've seen a lot of upskilling and reskilling happening basically into the education sector. So what are the innovations at your end, and how would you highlight all about it?
Actually, to be very frank, the biggest and the hectic task is the educational field, where everybody start talking about education on online, giving only half an hour, 1 hour. So it's quite tight situation only, I have to say. But still, you know that the teachers are already skilled. Now we did only a little of reskilling and upskilling. So like once the lockdown started, the first thing what we did was we did give them the information and communication technologies, a small orientation. So we had a set of teachers who are technically skilled, and then we just put them with the teachers who have to be trained. And beautifully they trained. You will not believe, we have to say the teachers, they worked relentlessly, that they started updating themselves. So this is where we have to say that teachers learn lifelong. And first thing to start up, we didn't give them a big platform where to threaten the teachers. So we said, okay, slowly you go with the recorded version of the classes. So to give them that power pack, like, okay, fine, now I can do. It's not that very difficult. So slowly they started entering inside YouTube videos, using PowerPoint presentations and so. And then slowly they started going inside. They started coming out and saying, ma'am, I think we can do a live classroom through Google. Oh, I said, oh, this is what I was expecting from you. And they started doing, you will not believe, the Google Classroom was so lively, where the children, they started involving themselves, where the teachers had the one-to-one interaction. And you'll not believe, the teachers started buying the Microsoft Mac pen, everything, and they started doing two-dimensional, three-dimensional classes. And they had, you will not believe, we had even a test going on online, and teachers beautifully corrected the test papers, everything. So now the teachers, they say, like, after this crisis, so this crisis has made us reskill, upskill, so many things has happened. It's like the sunglass, like when you just turn it upside down and then you leave it, it goes off. So I have to say that in this scenario, everybody should understand that education should not die, because giving a child of half an hour knowledge or 1 hour knowledge is not enough. Because this is a big platform where the child have to keep their knowledge upgraded. So for that, everybody will have to join together and just keep the children packed up with knowledge. So where the children also can go browse and take informations in a more productive way.
Thank you, ma'am, and how beautifully you put that yes, more empowered people who are more technically, empowered, putting them together with the other set of teachers. And very rightly said, teachers are somebody who continue to learn. And here they are taking the onus completely upon themselves. And with that, let me bring in Mr. Riyad Hussain into the conversation. Sir, are you there with us? Could you just switch on your video? Right. So yes, sir, can I hear you? Could you just unmute yourself?
Yes, I have.
Perfect.
I've done it.
From your industry perspective, I need to understand, the entire significance and what are the innovations that have happened from your industry perspective in upskilling employees. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Riyad Hussain, and I'm from Bangladesh. I'm working for Metrosim Group, one of the renowned building materials and construction and building materials manufacturing companies of Bangladesh. Let me thank AsiaOne Media to invite me here, and very good afternoon to all the participants. So thing is that I would like to mention one thing. In a recent McKinsey Global Survey, 87% of executives said they were experiencing skill gaps in the workforce or expected them within a few years. But less than half of respondents had a clear sense of how to address the problem. So the coronavirus pandemic has made the question more urgent. Workers across our building materials, especially cement and re-rolling steel industries, must figure out how they can adapt to rapidly changing conditions, and companies like ours, we have to learn how to match those workers to new roles and activities. This dynamics is about more than remote working or the role of automation and artificial intelligence. It's about how leaders can reskill and upskill the workers to deliver new business model in the post-pandemic era. To meet these challenges, companies like ours, especially in Indian subcontinent, there are many building materials companies. This company should craft a talent strategy that develops employees critical digital and cognitive capabilities, their social and emotional skills, and their adaptability and resilience. Now it is the time for companies like ours to double down on their learning budget and commit to reskillings. Developing this will also strengthen companies for further disruption. And one thing I must tell that we have to protect learning budgets. Otherwise, we have to regret it. The companies like ours, we should not cut our employee training budgets. According to the training industry report, that followed by a surge in 2011 and a drop back to 2008 levels in 2012. What this tells us that if companies cut their learning budgets now, they are delaying their investment, not netting a savings. So I must say one thing, that we have to use our training budget to make skill building a key strategic lever for adapting to the next normal. That is what I can mention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hussain. Thank you so much. And with that, let me very quickly get into Dr. Kavita Monga, yet again giving us a little more perspective on skilling and upskilling in the education sector. So, ma'am, yes, innovations and of course the signal.
Yeah. So, hi, good evening, everyone. And being into not only education, but careers as well, career guidance and education consultancy, what I realize is that skilling, upskilling, reskilling was always there. The early man also used to make crude knives, but we are still making steel knives, super special steel knives. So what is happening? Once we understand that this is not something which is so new that we need to get scared onto it, we will realize that education is the backbone of every skill enhancement. And because it is the backbone of every skill enhancement in whatever manner, new, upskilling, or learning a basic skill, we must remember the importance of education in any and every manner, whether it is formal, informal, professional, vocational, any and every manner, it's whether through the e-online platform, however. So what I would say that the significance in the globalization of today's time, where already things are in a super specialized, dominant world, I would say, super specialized doctors, super specialized machinery. So at least be skilled in your choice of career. Be skilled in your subject of choice. Be skilled in soft skills. Be skilled even in things like culinary skills. Because today, if you know how to make a healthy breakfast, you see what you can do. You don't have to be dependent on Domino's. So being as an educationist, a career counselor, a life coach, traveled around the world, what I think the first biggest skill, I think not skill though, but you need to be open-minded, open-ended, and ready to learn anything and everything. And as Dr. Mohan did say, that teachers are all-time learners, but I guess everybody has to be a teacher now self and an all-time learner. So when you get the capacity to teach yourself anything, you do become a teacher in that sense. Yeah. So this is most important in today's time, post-COVID, not only, but because of the technical advancement, because of the AI, because of the automation, because of anything and everything, because of high competition, job layoffs, and what all you may or may not be able to think of. So let's all become teachers and all-time learners. Yeah, yeah.
How well put up, yes. Each one of us need to be a teacher now.
Yeah.
The way forward is to continue to learn, continue to adapt whatever comes your way. So every time we have a new normal, we need to get adapted to it. So that is how you need to individually keep reskilling yourself. That's amazing. So while we're talking about organizations, institutions getting, skilled, I think even personally, we need to keep reskilling ourselves. Thank you, ma'am. Very well put up. With that,
Thank you so much.
Mr. Karuna Kaura, right, sir? we have so many questions already in terms of the liquor industry. Let me understand the innovations on, upskilling, reskilling happening in your industry. Sir, could you I cannot hear you. Could you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir, loud and clear.
Thank you so much for your initiatives. Like this year, 2020 is a year for reskilling, upskilling, and reviewing everyone's skills, because everything has gone online now. Almost 80% of the operations are through the apps and digital platforms. So this is very nice initiative by your organization. So challenges as far as we are facing in the liquor industry are little more than other industries, because here we have lot of ground activities where our employees were visiting the retail outlets, the liquor shops, the marketing activities, and many executions were done in a manual mode or through a meeting or going or visiting the shops or retail counters. So we have done some innovations, like we have upgraded our apps and our softwares, where the persons or our employees are just sending us the voice notes by visiting in any liquor shop, that here is the new requirement, or here is the feedback, here is the market position. So we have done a little bit, like everything is now relating to this retail operations, everything we have done through the online mode. But there is a challenge for some traditional employees, like in the industries or big factories like us, where we have 300 plus employees. Some of the employees are of the age group of between 40 to 60 years. So those are a little bit, they are finding difficult to implement the apps and this online applications for board meetings or daily follow-ups or daily activities. So we are going with the training sessions with them. We have recruited 2-3 good IT background people, and this is the same suggestion I want to give to other companies as well, to recruit some of the IT persons or trainers or those persons who can further recruit the employees, instead of changing the employee, which cause employee turnover, or instead of hiring new employees, we should train our existing manpower so that they can also fit themselves in this pandemic, and started to work with the requirement of the industry or the requirement of the time. But like the earlier the madam has told about the role of education system, yes, we do need a lot of changes in our formal education also. Like I would like to take a simple example. If any guy has done post graduation or graduation is in accounting, he or she doesn't know about the applications used by us or many companies like SAP, Tally, or BZB accounting software. So there should be some advisory to government also, or some initiatives to be taken by government also, to introduce those apps or those practical softwares which are used daily by companies like us, which are not a part of formal education or the curriculum. So that does, like the students face much more challenges even after getting the degrees, costly degrees. They are just on the roll of 10 to 12,000 and asking themselves to fit in any organization on any role, just because they are not having the practical knowledge and the requirement of those companies. Instead, they are having only the bookish knowledge or only the theoretical knowledge. So this is my suggestion also, and feedback also related to Indian education system. And yes, we have now replaced our meetings, board meetings, our follow-ups, everything in an online manner. We are doing everything as possible, as much as possible in an online mode. A special training sessions to all our departments have been given, and special employees have been hired who can further recruit the persons who can teach and train everyone to be online and get maximum work through online. We have developed certain apps where we can do the retailing functions also 80% through the apps. I think it suffices your question.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. And very rightly said, the entire digitalization is very important, and training is very important. We've been hearing that yes, you have to continue to train your existing employees while hiring, the kind of talent which is a little more familiar with technology, with which entire digitalization. With that, I think the best person to bring in right now is Mr. Ashis Guha. We're all talking about IT, we're talking about, great digitalization. So your views on the same, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sangeeta, for bringing me on over here. It's a real pleasure to be part of this panel. Thank you so much. all this that we're doing today would have not happened without IT being there, And I think I always tell people that the unsung heroes of this COVID pandemic were also the IT guys, because the industries are running because the IT is running in the back end, And the biggest challenge that they faced was that they were not in the office to service their clients or service their people, So it became very difficult for some of them. And our industry, as it is obsolescence is a very normal thing for us. Technology obsolescence is every 3 years you'll have technology getting obsolete, and that's where skilling, reskilling, upskilling, all that happens on a regular basis. So this pandemic really taught us one thing, it's just not about teaching your own people and delivering a solution or putting it in place, but it's also how the user base uses it. Today, if you look at cybersecurity, which is one area that we really work a lot around. If you look at cybersecurity, it's not about the IT guys knowing about cybersecurity and stopping things. Because people are working from home, you're suddenly opened up a plethora of options for bad people to come and access and pull out information from there. So how are we controlling that? How are we training our people, not only within the service companies, but also our customers, our clients? You look at banks, lately you've heard all the banks talking about maybe 10% of the workforce will work from home. If they're working from home, how do you protect the information? How do you protect all that? So I think it's becoming more and more critical that it's just not about delivering the solution, but also ensuring that people are able to use it. I know, like Mr. Kaura just mentioned about hiring people to drive the business at the back end. It becomes very important for all of us in that sense to be able to address and skill our people on a regular basis. When I joined 25 years back, the industry, what I knew then and what I know today, I don't see a correlation. It's just about so much has changed over a period of time. So it's a constant change. It's a constant learning. Every day the bad people are going to come in. Every day you need to be prepared. How do you stop them from coming in? And you keep on learning. I always, being a big Tendulkar fan, always say, he used to always say, learning, I learn from anyone who's there. New guys come in, they teach me a lot. So it's all about how much can you learn from different people that are around you. In IT, also another area that a lot of times gets a backseat is the soft skill. That becomes very critical. Again, in these kind of situations, every organization, every customer is a little different. So how do you engage with them? How do you train them? Some people are novice, some people are already, they know a lot. So it's a different ball game when you're interacting with some of these people. So soft skill training is also very important, and that's what Dr. Monga also mentioned about. Training people on those interpersonal skills becomes very important. As an organization in RH, we do a lot of that. Just not about technology training to our people and being ready with the future, but also making sure the basics, the soft skills and interpersonal skills are also taken care of. Our HR department works fantastically out there. Back to you, thanks.
Thank you. And yes, I think that's where you made the point that very important that cybersecurity, one has to feel secured, very, very secured in this particular virtual space. So true. With that, now we'll begin with the Q&A session. And Dr. Mohan, we've got so many questions for you. And Abhishek is saying, cultural fest are something that college students actually used to look forward for the entire year. So how are colleges now prepared to organize them? And because these are testing times.
So yeah, of course, colleges are all getting well prepared for the online classes. And I know that as in how the IT field is now squeezing their brain to identify how far the children are going to be attentive to the online class. So you know that AI and virtual things all know. So like even if they are present, it will give them the attendance. So the teachers needn't take their attendance and it will automatically say whether the child is attentive to the class, to what percentage they had been attentive. So now online is getting updated. Of course, once the vaccine comes, I think soon they may open up all the education institutions, because parents, when they call us and they ask, please, when the school reopened, when will the college reopen, we cannot manage the kids at home. So we know what a tough task the schools and colleges are doing, managing our kids. So hopefully soon the colleges and schools will reopen.
And there is another question. Has the curriculum been redesigned in terms of to develop the right kind of professionals, when we talk about the pre-COVID and the post-COVID era? So any changes?
100%. Pre-COVID and post-COVID has done a lot of changes in the teaching methodologies. See, earlier we had been doing only a traditional teaching methodology. Now, when you take into consideration, it is totally different, where the teachers are doing a lot of work. See, earlier the teacher can just take in the knowledge what they have, and they can just talk and they can present and they can go. But now the teacher is doing a detailed research, and they have to come out with all visuals and show the children how things are happening. So now I will always say that the post-COVID is playing a major task on the teachers, where the teachers, they have sleepless nights, where sometimes their husbands say, hey, you going for a job, it's better you take care of us in home, because when you go to school or college, you had only like 5 to 6 hours of work. Now it's like 24/7, you are busy with the system. So of course, the technology plays a vital role, where we have to give the right knowledge. And it's not only the children who is viewing the session, even the parents are viewing. So here we will always say blended learning plays a vital role.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And with that, I'll have Mr. Karun Kaura. Sir, the next question is for you. Is home delivery in the liquor industry going to be now the new normal, and how does this work? Everybody, there are so many questions for people.
No, it won't work for so long. Like India, when we talk about liquor, India is a very big country, and every state is having its own excise norms. Suppose I am having factory at Ludhiana, Punjab. It's not possible for me to courier a liquor to a Maharashtra guy or to courier liquor to a Delhi person. So it's not feasible for long term. But yes, for short term, governments can maintain their revenue, because every state revenue is fully dependent upon liquor excise and petrol VAT and these 2-3 excisable items. So for long run, it's not advisable, and it cannot be run in this way. But yes, for short term, revenues can be maintained with this.
Okay. So, well, that's a sad news to an extent.
Yeah, I think 3-4 states have discontinued this. 5 states started this, and out of 5, 3-4 states have closed this home delivery option. Punjab also has closed. They started, and after 3-4 days, they closed.
So here we are, guys. We've got that answer absolutely right. And with that, let me bring in Dr. Monga back again. Ma'am, people are wanting to understand, in terms of career counseling, is there kind of a change after the, will there be kind of a change into the post-COVID era in terms of how people really look into careers, and anything in particular that it's going to be a little more, people are going to be more concentrated, like the AI or technology?
Well, what I would say is that anyway, the careers that are the new age careers for about, let's say, past 5 years at least, though I would say about 15 years, but at least past 5 years, there has been a lot of awareness, and there has a lot of change in the mindset of parents, of students. We as educationists, as career counselors, have also brought in a lot of awareness that essentially the careers which were conventionally being followed are not the ones that can be followed anymore, because some of them are obsolete, some of them don't have that kind of absorption rate. So this particular thing is now well received, pretty much well received. And of course, with the new openings like AI, cyber security, like innovations, technological innovations, things like even cyber law, so law today, if I just want to be an advocate, so it's not that a particular marriage advocate or, a particular maybe licensing advocate with property and stuff like that, but that they are in abundance. But lawyers and advocates with cyber knowledge specializing are not so much in place. So things like this are being realized and well taken, but the awareness level still needs to be built up. the capacity to sort of, I will say, experiment and absorb, more so by the parents. The students are pretty much ready for it. Pretty much ready. Even a 6th grader, if you ask, so the 6th grader has interest in making a 3D puppy and is well aware what it is. It's not that the 6th grader is saying, oh, hello, what is this? So the awareness level luckily has come up to this level. But having said that, we need to really have industry-ready courses. And I totally agree with one of the panelists that there is a huge, I think it was Mr. Kaura, if I'm not wrong, that we do need advisory boards, or however, the advice and the suggestions and the strategies have to reach to the government, the main boards, the AICTE, the CBSE boards, the other boards, the UGC, everything. They need to pull in together and they need to make new courses. We don't want a history telling us about Akbar and Babur in the way that it's about 10 pages dedicated. No, we just want a history to know what was its importance, the basic idea of around which century it was happening, and why we should adopt certain things out of it or why we shouldn't adopt. Similarly, for all these subjects, geography means it should tell us the resources, the climatic conditions of a place, so that if we want to settle down, or so that if we want to open up a new job or something in there, we should know. Similarly, for all subjects. So the new age curriculum has to be technologically, I'll say, super integrated. Not just integrated, but super integrated with all these subjects. And and this is very important.
Thank you, ma'am. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
That we are going to choose totally integrated with technology, that is must. Okay. With that, Celestia, yes, your final words for all your fans out there who are waiting to hear from you, and what is that you have to give them? Some beauty tips. Upskilling their beauty tips.
Okay, I think probably not beauty tips for today, but in regards to what we are going to talk today, I mean, the subject, right? I would like to actually have 2 quotes for whoever that's listening in. One is, the most beautiful thing about learning is that nobody can take it away from you. That's quote number 1. And the next is, don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. Yeah.
Wow. Let your learning lead to action. And yes. I can see Mr. Ashis Guha completely in agreement with Celestial on that. So, your final words on the panel, and in terms of, there are still spaces which do not have internet, and how do you think they can upskill businesses out there, entrepreneurs out there? What do they do?
So I guess one thing that the government of India has done very well is the Digital India initiative that they've taken, and the Wi-Fi-ing the villages. So you will have internet, or you already have internet reaching the far corners of the country. And we are seeing a lot of good initiatives coming out from there by the government. But I think to one of the points that Celestia made is about acting. So I always tell the young entrepreneurs is you have to assess what's around you, you need to understand what's happening, how the dynamics are changing in the industry or in the neighborhood kind of stuff, Analyze what you've learned, Do you have the skills required within the company to take you to the next level? Do you need to reskill them or upskill them, or even get skills from outside? I'm a big proponent of getting skills from outside also at the same time, but make sure that your internal teams are also reskilled or upskilled depending on the situation it is. And then, as she says, act. You just don't take all that knowledge, don't take all that information and just keep it with you. Ensure you empower your people so that they can act on those learnings that they've had.
And it's not only about technology. Somewhere, I guess, it's also the interpersonal skills that have been spoken about. There is a lot more that one needs to reskill and upskill, not particularly to technology, but
not on technology. That's why I said soft skills are very, 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 very important.
Right.
That's the perfect match that you can really have around that.
Emotional quotient to the entire thing.
Very important. Very
Correct.
important.
So here we go. And with that, let me get in Miss Elisa. So, ma'am, yes, your message to everybody out there in the world. When do you think this pandemic is all going to end? And your final message to all the entrepreneurs out there on upskill?
I think everyone have skill, experience, knowledge, talent. I think they just need to trust themselves, and in order to move on. And also, I think we have to believe in ourselves that we can do. I used to use one of the quote that I borrow from someone, that if there is a will, there is a way. So I think everything have a solution, and every problem have a solution. And I think then the last one, I think we have to just to trust in God, our faith in God, that we are doing this under the help of our Almighty, or your God, or my God, things like that. So the important message is trust yourself, focus, and be patient in order to to face all the challenges that we have now. Thank you.
Be patient, absolutely. Dr. Mohan, one more question. That somebody, so there is a facilitator, and she is from Philippines, and she wants to know very quickly how to enhance the attention of students online. Any particular tip?
Actually, we have to get them involved. That is very important, because once we get them involved in the online classes, so for example, the teacher and the student must have a very good wavelength, and the class sessions, whatever is going on, it should be more lively, and the teacher should be more presentable.
Correct.
So if the teacher is going to be in a very monotonous way, and going to stick on only to the fact and not doing more than what they have to say, and they have to always connect whatever they are teaching with the real life situation. When they are going to connect the student with the real life situation, ultimately every student will love to attend the online session.
So I think more of storytelling skills, probably. I think that is going to connect with the students, allow them to, talk about their own experiences and a little more story before.
No, for example, if you take science, so let us talk about a plant. So today the teacher can say, so this is how the plant grows. So the teacher can say, you can take, your mummy cuts a chili, so you will have the chili seeds. Just throw it in your garden, or even if you have a small pot or a cup, just to see how it grows. So ultimately, the mustard seed, small things where the child will also have that hands-on learning. So ultimately, the child will have the interest. So today, my teacher is going to teach something. Let me try it out. So, but everything what they try, it should not be a big burden for the parents also.
Right. And I think most of our speakers, have made this point that every skill or every education now we talk about has to be in practical sense, rather than talking about the Akbar and the Birbal history, for a matter of fact, right? And final words from Mr. Karun Kaura. Sir, everybody out there, so many questions are there. So, what is your last and final words in terms of for everybody into the spirit industry? Sir, can you unmute yourself, please?
So you want my views related to spirit industry, that what spirit industry is thinking?
Yes.
At present, like I think that for all of us, the most important is to take care of our mental health first of all, then the physical health, and we have to leave past the traditional ways of doing work, and let's be more technology savvy, and let's be more high tech to survive in this pandemic. So this should be the main target of all of us. And as far as liquor is concerned, like we as a liquor industry, we are not facing much challenge in any finance or any business. Like our industry has, I don't know whether I should say this or not, but this industry has gone better in this pandemic. Our turnover is around almost, it is doubled in past 3-4 months, and it is increasing day by day. So let's, like, others should not feel demotivated. Like, this is not the
nothing better to do at home.
Yes, ma'am. What is that you have to say?
Everyone will also be going in a better, with the better turnover.
So yeah, I just wanted to share, Mr. Karun, especially the adolescents. I mean, adults per se, but yeah, also in that category. And dads and moms being at home, Nothing better to do at home, they won't. So first 2 months were like a holiday period for them, where they were, thanks to the industry maybe.
I see many news coming on social media that liquor, alcohol can save you from coronavirus.
Because the sanitizers somewhere do have, alcohol to it. So yeah.
I'll tell you one very interesting incident. I met the Deputy Excise Commissioner of Punjab some days back, and he was carrying vodka in his sanitizer bottle, and he was saying that this works in both ways, whether you can put inside your mouth or you can put it on your hand.
Yeah, we had quite a few memes on that. So with that, a big thank you to all our speakers, to all our panelists. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for your presence. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this wonderful web series with us, and we promise you next Friday we have something better for you. With that, a big thank you to all of you from AsiaOne. Now, I, Sangeeta Singh, would like to say goodbye to all of you, and please have wonderfully.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.